Have you ever wondered what someone who has spent years sitting with thousands of people would learn about life? Not because they have all the answers, but because they've had the privilege of witnessing people in some of the most vulnerable, honest moments of their lives. Over the years, I've sat with people from all over the world, different countries, careers, beliefs, ages, different seasons of life, and I've recognized that some have come because they were heartbroken, or they were searching for purpose, or they had lost someone they loved, and others wanted to know if they were on the right path. And I have to tell you, after thousands of readings, I started noticing something. No matter where someone came from, the deepest questions were almost always the same. Am I going to be okay? Can I trust myself? Am I enough? Am I loved? Am I on the right path? Today, I want to share some of the greatest truths people have taught me. And it's not because I think I've figured this big life thing out, but because sitting with so many beautiful humans has changed the way I see humanity. Every single person I've sat with has taught me. Yes, they're receiving a reading from me, but they've also been my teachers. When you witness enough humans, you begin to notice the patterns, and those patterns have changed my life. Welcome to episode 7. Today, I do want to take you a little deeper into something that I've been reflecting on for a while. And yes, over the years, I've had the privilege of sitting with thousands of people from all over the world. And while every reading is completely unique, I've started to just see beautiful patterns about what it means to be human, what it means to be alive on this planet, to live this life. And there are certain things that people have taught me simply by allowing me to witness them. So today I want to share some of those observations with you, if that's okay. One of the first things I've realized is that we spend so much time comparing ourselves to everyone else. We try to convince ourselves that everyone else has it together, that we're the only ones struggling, or we're the only ones feeling insecure or fearful. And I've had people sit down in front of me, and sometimes it's someone most people would think is incredibly successful, most people admire, or they appear confident, accomplished, and what looks like completely put together. And underneath all of that, they're asking the exact same questions as everyone else. Am I enough? Will I find love? Am I making the right decision? What do you think about this business deal? Will I heal? Am I living my purpose? It's reminding me that over and over again, titles, money, followers, success, fame, anything that we've been taught to mean something, to matter, to be of some importance, none of those things actually erase our humanity. And beneath it all, we're just simply people trying to find our way. I want to stay here with you just a moment because this has changed me personally. I've had to learn not to put people on pedestals. There are people I've admired for years, people I had unknowingly created this image of in my mind. And then one day they sat across from me in a reading, and they were vulnerable, honest, human. There were moments where I found myself thinking like, wow, they're just like me. They're just like anyone else. And I don't mean that in a disappointing way. I mean that in the most beautiful way. It reminded me that we all carry things no one else can see. And once I let go of the image I had created of someone, I could simply be present with them. Not who I thought they were or who the world thought they were, just a beautiful human sitting in front of me. So those have been really special moments for me of grappling with my own humanity, allowing my ego to take a back seat, to see someone fully and not a projection of who I thought they were or wanted them to be or hoped them to be. Another thing that has surprised me is that people already know so much more than they realize. Sometimes someone comes into a reading hoping I'll tell them something they've never considered. And yes, there are moments where information comes through that really does surprise them. But more often than not, I'm simply just putting words to something they've already known deep within. Sometimes they'll smile and say, Pat, gosh, I knew that. Or they'll begin crying because sometimes something finally clicked for them. That's one of my favorite moments because it's never about me giving them something they didn't have. It's just about helping guide them to reconnect with something they already knew. And that's why I always tell people that a reading, a psychic session, it should never replace your intuition. It should strengthen your relationship with it. I don't ever want someone believing that they need me or any other psychic, intuitive teacher, guru. I don't want them believing that they need them to make decisions for them. My greatest hope is that someone leaves trusting themselves more. Another thing that has deeply moved me is realizing how much people carry in silence. I've had people walk into a session smiling, laughing, excited to connect, and then before we even really began, the tears fall. I remember one woman in particular before we started. We were just simply chatting. I asked her how her day had been. She was so smiley and excited, telling me how much she had been looking forward to our session. And as I started to tune in, I just gently said, hey, there's a lot you've been carrying that no one knows about. I keep seeing you crying by yourself. I keep feeling this energy of holding everything together. But before I could say anything else, she just broke down. It's not because she wasn't excited for the reading. It was because someone had finally spoken out loud what she had been silently carrying. That moment has really stuck with me because it reminded me that psychic sessions aren't always about predicting the future. Sometimes they're about telling the truth. The truth we've been hiding from everyone else, or sometimes even from ourselves. And I think that's why so many people are longing to be seen. Sometimes that's exactly where healing begins. Something else I've witnessed over and over again is that people often believe their lives are falling apart when actually they're just being rearranged. I laugh a little saying that because I've experienced it in my own life too. The relationship ends, the job disappears, the move that wasn't really part of the plan, the dream that didn't work out the way we thought. And in those moments, it can feel completely devastating. But months later, sometimes years later, I've watched people look back and say, gosh, if that hadn't happened, none of this would have been possible. I've come to believe that while we wouldn't choose many of the painful chapters we experience, some of our greatest transformations begin there. And finally, if there's one lesson that stayed with me more than anything else, it's this. People are so much more resilient than they believe. I've watched people survive unimaginable grief, pain, heartbreak, loss, cancer, divorce, starting completely over, moving across the country, beginning again after they thought life was over. And somehow, little by little, they keep choosing in. That has changed me. It's made me believe in people in a way I never expected. So when someone sits across from me and says, I don't know if I can do this, a small part of me smiles because I've seen what human beings are capable of more times than I could freaking count. So if you were hoping I'd reveal some great secret I've learned, maybe this is it. That people aren't really looking for perfection. They're just looking for permission to live, permission to trust, permission to change, to outgrow old versions of themselves. Humans are waiting for permission to rest, to become who they truly are. I believe in the good in humanity, the good in our purpose of being here, of evolving, of growing, of shifting, of experiencing joy and love and happiness. And I just want to remind you that there's wisdom that's already living within you. And sometimes we just need someone to help us remember that. And maybe the greatest gift these thousands of readings have given me is just reminding me how extraordinary humans really are. So, my dear friends, in closing, I just have one question for you to sit with this week. in your life, through your challenges, through your own human experience, what have you witnessed that's changed you? What's something you've lived through that's moved you forever? If you feel called to share, I'd love to receive a DM from you or a comment on this podcast episode. I'd love to share some of these stories in future episodes because I think there's something really beautiful about learning from one another. None of us are walking this path alone. We're all teaching one another whether we realize it or not. And if this episode's touched your heart, I'd love for you to share it with someone. It helps this podcast reach even more people who may need these conversations. Until next time, be kind to yourself. Keep listening within. I love you. I just want to sincerely thank you for stepping through the psychic portal with me today. This has been so amazing. And if you'd like to stay connected with me, you have so many options. Visit my website at thepsychicportal.org. On that website, you can book a reading with me, explore spiritual coaching, you can join our sisterhood, attend a retreat, look up any of the upcoming events that you would like to come to, and you'll find the links in my show notes to my website. You can also find me on social media at thepsychicportal4, like the number 4. And I just want to say, if anything resonated with you today, please feel free to leave a review, leave a comment, like, subscribe, share this with a dear friend that needs to hear this message. And as we close, my wish for you is always the same. May you always trust your inner knowing. May you have the courage to follow what is true for you. And remember that your wisdom lives within your heart. Until next time, my angel, keep shining. I love you. Bye.